Everyone, we're back for the third workout video. Today's going to be a core focused day, and then I'm going to finish with some cardio. If you're tired of crunches and planks and you want some inspiration, some ideas for different core exercises, this video is for you. Great for all sports or anyone just trying to work on their core. You're going to notice I'm going to find creative ways to add some resistance to the core workout today. But you can do all of these or I think you can do all of them, definitely most of them at home without any equipment as well. Okay, so enjoy. The first one's going to be a leg raise, and I'm going to use a bench to help me support myself. I'm going to grab onto the end with my hands. I recommend holding on to something sturdy over your head for this exercise. You'll see why it'll just feel much better. You'll be able to really focus on the core. Take a look. So I'm doing 2 more of these, 3 total sets. I think I'm going to do 3 sets for each different exercise here. And what I recommend is for this type of routine, which will take about 15 to 20 minutes, if you go back to back, it'll take me a little bit longer just with the recording clips. But what I recommend is 3 sets. You push yourself to near failure with each set, and you'll get a lot out of this. But you may not want to go right to failure right from the get-go. Save some room in the tank for the rest of the exercises, and that way you'll really get the benefits of each of them. This one here, when the legs go straight out, you really want to keep your core engaged. Don't let your low back rise up. That's the biggest mistake, and you'll probably notice as I fatigue that might be happening. So if I really notice that's occurring, that's when I wrap up the exercise. We're really going for quality here. I don't know if it's just me, but these ones feel great. I could probably do like 10 sets of these, and that would be a core workout in itself. But you'll notice I'm going to incorporate different variables and just different angles and different ways to work the core today. So we're going to jump into the mountain climber. And although I didn't add resistance to this, the mountain climber, we're going to show you how to do it with a resistance band, or I might have some sliders around here as well, but at least with the resistance band. One thing to keep in mind during the mountain climbers is to add an extra little contraction, a little bit of flexion into it. That way you'll really feel your rectus abdominis working, the muscles in the front, the 6-pack muscles, because this one it is possible to sort of go through the movement and not really feel that tension. So you'll notice me adding a little bit of a subtle extra little squeeze This is going to be really important for someone that doesn't have any extra resistance. Once you start adding the resistance bands, it becomes a little bit easier to feel the core workout. And then it just becomes harder from that point. So I'll do my first set without the resistance bands, see how it feels. And then I have these just 2 regular power bands, but you could use the tube bands, or you could use regular TheraBands. Just tie it around your ankles, your feet, and you'll get something a little bit extra out of it. All right, enjoy. All right, so that wasn't actually too bad. This is one that you might want to do for about 30 seconds to a minute, if not longer, especially if you don't have the resistance. All right, so I'm basically going to skip the rest for this and go into my next 2 with the band. So take a look at how I set up, nothing fancy here. All right, we're going to stay in this setup here. I'm just going to get the ab roller. If there's one tool that is probably the best bang for your buck for getting the rectus abdominis working, that front 6-pack muscle, it would definitely be the ab roller. So I'm going to add that into the routine next, and then we'll go from there. So when you're working with the ab roller, what I recommend is maintaining some core tension throughout the whole movement. You don't need to sit up all the way. Kind of stay in the exercise, if you know what I mean. And the other thing is, as you get closer to the body, the easier part of the exercise, you may also want to sort of press into the ground a little bit. The whole idea is that this sort of resists a crunch. So you're not really crunching, but that's the movement that's being challenged onto the rectus abdominis. It's trying to create a crunch against the ground, and you're staying in a neutral position throughout. So when you get close to your body in this sort of position here, you're adding that little bit of extra push into the ground. All right, so my mic actually died at this point in my workout, so I'm going to do the voiceover for the rest of this. You won't notice it yet, but with these ab rollers, what I actually end up doing is I just start shortening the distance that I roll out with as I get fatigued. Otherwise, I would have to just end the set a little too early. I like to sort of work a little bit closer to failure with this one. And the safest way to do that, the best way to do that, is just to start slowly rolling a little bit less far with each rep. Still doing pretty good, actually, but it'll start getting shorter soon. I've also been asked how often you should be doing this sort of thing. So whether you have performance and functional goals, if you're looking to, play better on the field, or if you are just trying to actually, improve your six-pack physique. What I would recommend, and there's some research showing this as well, a good amount of volume is twice per week. If you can hit this movement twice per week, it'll allow you to get enough volume um, in that week to optimize hypertrophy. Now, there's diminishing returns, but you can actually get even further results if you do it more often. So it kind of depends on how convenient, how determined you are. But optimal, I would say best bang for your buck, best value would be twice per week. I think anything less is still good, like once per week or every other week is not bad, but you're probably more so maintaining things at that point. Yeah, you can see here I've started to shorten a little bit. My posture starts caving in, but I'm still trying to push down at the ground as I get close to my knees. I usually go for 10 to 15 reps here. You'll see the Copenhagen next, and I've just sped it up because I've already shown you this in the last workout video, and there's nothing new here. I've just progressed the range, so you can see I've added some blocks there. If you find that you are doing well and the range or the height is not sufficient, you can just get creative by adding some surface, blocks there for a higher surface. The isometric hold has also gotten pretty manageable. This is actually my injured leg, the right one that I'm going to be focusing on. The isometric got easy, so I've actually moved to those concentrics where I'm going up and down. My left one here, my groin actually feels fine, but my knee, for some reason, doesn't really like this, so I don't go too long with that. And yeah, my left one, even though it's not currently going through that strain, the left one, I've had a couple ACL reconstructions, so long story. But yeah, this one feels good, kind of popping in and out of that pretty easy. Even though it's sped up, I'm still going actually pretty fast. So I did about 3 sets on each side of the Copenhagen, and now we are in this dead bug variation. So a lot of people are familiar with the dead bug, and if you're not, I highly recommend this exercise. I don't bother with the arms at this point, but you'll see me do a variation with the arms that actually makes a little more sense for me. But here, if you have access to bands, tie it around your foot and add this extra resistance, bringing your leg up. Really, really important for soccer players, developing the hip flexors, but also the lower part of the core here. All the while, you're just making sure your spine doesn't curl up into extension as you're doing that. Now, here I'll start actually including the arms, and I find this actually hits the upper part of the rectus abdominis a little bit better. And I mean, this is a little bit of, bro science here, because the rectus abdominis technically, it just gets activated all at once, but still you'll feel the burn at the top here, and it just has to do probably with where the load is, where the stress is. It's higher up. So yeah, and actually in a perfect scenario, you'd want the band tied up a little bit higher. You can see how I'm sort of pulling it up from a lower position. That's not the best setup, but I'm still feeling this. You can see it on my face there. And in the last variation, I did 3 sets in total with almost no rest here. The last variation is with a plate. So if you have some weights, you can actually hold it up in front of you. Now this alone doesn't do much, but you have to bring your shoulder blades up. You can see me sort of bring it up. There you go. Shoulder blades off the mat and holding that position while you're doing the dead bug. All right, so that's the last movement of this core routine. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that workout. That wraps up the core routine. I recommend you guys try this out. This one's usually well tolerated, even if you have a pretty frequent game schedule. You can sprinkle this stuff in your normal training. It's nice and low impact for the legs. So give it a try. Like and subscribe to the channel, please. Really means a lot. And stay tuned for more weekly workouts. I'll be recording full workouts with explanations and descriptions of the movements. Okay, guys, take care.